Went live with another Doxie breeder and asked some important questions. Part 1.
So you breed dachshunds?
Yes, little long hair miniature dachshunds.
And I saw on your website that that's been something that you guys have done in the family for a long time.
Yes, actually, I didn't know when we got started, but my mom told me that my grandparents bred and showed standard smooths back in the 50s. And so she always had a Doxie love. And then when I was growing up, we were in Texas. She's from New Mexico. And then when I was growing up in Texas, she got into the miniature long hairs. And so growing up, we always had Doxies around. We had one live to 19 named Spanky. And like 8 or 9 years ago, I thought, oh, it'd be so fun to breed them. And a little bit of the journey here. I did. I started with a little black and cream piebald, and then later I added a cream. And I had like 1 or 2 litters, and I was like, that's really weird. They don't look the way that like the textbooks look, and like the standard dachshunds. More standard dachshunds, I feel like, are bred correctly. They're not quite as like milled like the minis are. And so I got in all of these groups and started learning everything that I could. And I had this like small problem where like, if I do something, I want to do it better than everybody else. So I was like, these are a little ugly. They look like rats. I'm not impressed. And, so I spayed that mom and I rehomed her. She had already had a couple litters, but I let her go to a pet home. And then I had one cream girl who was a poop. She was bought as a pet, but she was a really nice pet. And a long story short, there was a lot of turnover.
Mm-hmm.
Confirmation show breeders can be a little crazy. Mm-hmm. So like I would buy a dog and they'd be like, no, this dog is a show dog. And I'd spend like $4,000 on a dog. And then like 12 months will come around. I'll be like, wow, this dog's like 18 pounds. And like miniatures are not supposed to be that big. And you know, I have like a temperament problem. One lady sent me a dog with rear dew claws, and you can't show dachshunds with rear dew claws and you can't remove them. Not ethically. Like you can remove them, but like, it's so traumatic for the dog. I would never. Yeah. So it was a hot mess of like turnovers. I finally got paired up with a couple ladies that have been breeding for like, one lady's in her 70s and she's been breeding for like 40 years. And then another girl who's about my age, she's been breeding for like 20. And I got hooked up with them and I got some really good dogs and I bred my little cream girl up to better dogs. And I actually thought that I was going to have to be like several generations before I could get like show quality. But actually her first litter, I had my first bred by champion, who is a grand champion now. She's on my page. Her name is Juno. She's just my baby. But I keep my pack small, and they're just, I don't know, they're just it's like I call it my old lady hobby, because my kids are getting older, and I'm like, what am I going to do whenever my kids are gone? And I fell in love with the sport. It's just so much fun. If anybody's into the dog world, I have the 2025 #1 miniature dachshund is mine.
Wow.
Harvey, he's
congratulations. I heard about Harvey.
I didn't breed him. My friend Andrea, she's my mentor, and we co-breed together some now. We co-own a few dogs together. She bred him. And so he's the result of 20 years, though, of strategic breeding. And he's just a phenomenal dog. He's the whole pack. He's like textbook, like super outgoing, like loves to hunt. Just those, you know, because some of them you get like temperament issues with them, or he's just everything. He's literally everything. And I have like a 5-foot painting of this dog in my house. Like my kids are like, you love Harvey more than us. And I was like, well, he doesn't talk back and he eats all of his dinner. He's big ribbons. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah. Oh, you show in confirmation. Do you do any other kinds of sports or anything?
No, not yet. Eventually I would like to, but I have 4 kids and I work full time. So I'm sure eventually. I have some dogs that I have sold that they do. Like the rally and that kind of, actually one of Harvey's sisters does rally, and like barn hunt and things like that. I have a friend in Arizona that she does that with her dogs. She doesn't show them, but she does like barn hunt and rally and that kind of stuff. And so that's what they're bred for, you know, they love it. I would love to get into the barn hunt and all that. It's super interesting, but I think that it has to be like certain times of the year and like certain conditions outside, because I don't know a ton about it, but yeah. For now, just confirmation. I do it some myself whenever I can get there. And when my daughter comes with me and helps, and my mom. And then I also hire a lady who is, I mean, worth her weight in gold. She's in Palm Springs right now. And it was on akc.tv, has an app now where you can watch the shows. So I got to see him on Saturday because he won the breed. So he was in the hound group, and he was so cute because he was like, someone else showed him because she had her whip it into. He was the whole time trying to get to her. Like, it was just darling. So I don't always suggest someone use a handler. Sometimes they're shady, just like breeders. But this lady is just phenomenal, and she loves my dogs. So, and they love her. Like, they come home and they're like, they're sad that Lori left them.
That's awesome. I was looking at your website, and you say that OFA certifications are available for select dogs and bitches over 12 months old. I was wondering, what do you mean by that?
Well, you can't do OFAs until they're 12 months.
I thought it was like 24 months, actually.
It just depends on the breed.
Okay.
Dachshunds, they don't have any crazy like x-rays or anything necessary. They just have cardiac patellas and eyes. But you can't do them until they're 12 months. So I typically don't even list my dogs on there. Like, I have a couple puppies at home that I'm growing out that aren't even on my website because OFAs are not done and they haven't started gaining points towards their titles, you know, to actually, I'm still watching them to make sure that they're going to be able to be shown. So I don't even list them on there, which is why it says the select ones. And there's one you'll notice on there, a female, her name is Scarlett. I actually just had to spay her and she never was able to produce any puppies. So.
Oh, really? How come?
I don't actually know the full reason why. I tried to breed her last year and she didn't take. And then my breeder friend is also manages a vet clinic. So she helps me a lot with my breedings and stuff. And we progesterone tested her this time. We're like, maybe we just missed her cycle or the correct dates because some girls ovulate different times. And so we progesterone tested her this time and bred her again. And she had one puppy and she never went into labor. And so on day 63 is about when you start going, what the heck? So I took her to the vet on 63 and the puppy was already dead. And the vet said that the other half of her uterus was like, what word did he use? Basically like disintegrating, like just gross. And he was like, it's another $3,000 if you want us to try to clean it out and preserve her placenta or her uterus. And I was like, absolutely not. That's not. He already was in a guardian home and the lady was so worried about her every day. She's calling me being like, is Carla okay? So it just was the best move. I mean, it was $10,000 down the tube.
Yeah.
You know, after purchasing her and finishing her confirmation, you know, and everything else, but it's just the nature of the game. I mean, you have to make those choices. There was no point for me personally to try that again. It was not worth it. Obviously something was wrong and just not worth it. So it happens. I only have two mom dogs, age appropriate mom dogs. I have one that's a retired girl, my pet, Peaches. The two boys, both are finished. Only one's been bred one time, Harvey. And then I have 3 puppies. And I do have a couple co-owns and like that are out there, dogs that I've bred in the past that are with other show homes.
Do you have homes for the puppies that you have right now? Do you have homes lined up with them?
Yes and no. One of them was already sold. Most of my waiting list was females. It always is, which makes 0 sense to me as a breeder because the males are always better. Personality. People get hung up on girls. And I also don't really like to run a super long wait list because most breeders take like a paid wait list, which is fine. I don't like to be obligated to somebody financially. I don't like owing anybody money. And a lot of times they want specific things. Like, I want a chocolate female. Well, I have dogs that can produce chocolate, but chocolate kind of evades me usually. And so I don't commonly get them. And so I don't feel comfortable personally taking money from somebody to wait for that. So I kind of keep a non-paid wait list of people that are interested. This particular litter I have is only 2 boys, and I specifically asked for girls. It was really rude that she only gave me boys.
How rude.
I know. And they're darlings, dude. They're so cute. But I own the mom and I own the sister and a half brother. So it doesn't make sense for me to keep a boy back. So I have one of the boys sold. The other one I haven't even listed yet. Mostly also because one of them was very small when they were born and I had to tube feed him for like 2 weeks. He's okay now, but they'll be 4 weeks on Thursday. So all I have to say, I keep a loose wait list, but I don't like holding people's money. It makes me nervous.
Understandable. Yeah, that makes sense. Oh, you mentioned co-owned and guardianship homes. So you do both of those? Or guardian homes, sorry.
Yes. I have the one girl who was in a guardian home, and mostly I only really ever I have one other dog who is in a guardian home, and she's not old enough to be bred yet. She is with my brother. He watched her when I went to Florida for vacation, and he let her sleep in the bed with him. and was like, I love this dog. And he lives like 30 minutes away from me. So if it's friends or family and someone who just loves a dog I have and they're close by and I trust them, then I don't have a problem letting one of them go like that. And also it helps people sometimes that can't always afford a really expensive puppy to have access to a dog. And I still get to be involved in the vet care and making sure that they're well cared for. And then the co-owned dogs, 3 of them I bred. So whenever I don't sell a lot of full rights, and if I do, it's not really full rights, it's show potential. So I have sold 3 dogs on show potential. And it has a contract where it's like, you know, the dog has to be shown this many times. They have to obtain their champion title before they're bred. You can't breed them before they're championed and their OFAs are done and all that. And they're with friends. I mean, they're people that I trust. But I mean, people contact me all the time for breeding rights, and it's usually a big fat no. And especially if I don't have a relationship with you, if I don't know you and trust you. And I mean, these are people that they're in my circle, you know, I call them and they call me. And one lady earlier was sending me, you know, she got her OFA done on hers. And I was like, thank you so much for doing that. They're good. They're good relationships. The dog world can be cutthroat.
I believe it.
I'm not a circle of people that I trust and love, and they have access to my dogs, but for the most part, I don't ever sell with breeding rights. And even my pet contracts are pretty lengthy.
And when you do sell with breeding rights, do you charge more for that?
Oh, I charge less.
Okay.
I charge $3,500 for pets, and then $2,500 for show potential, because show potential is not guaranteed unless you have an adult dog. If I sold Harvey to somebody, I could be like, this is a show dog, you know. But at 8 weeks, we evaluate at 8 weeks, and we have a pretty good idea of what they're going to turn out like. But things happen all the time. I mean, temperaments don't turn out. I mean, they grow wonky, whatever. And so I charge less because they're going to be out the money for all the testing and, you know, whatever and all of that. And if it doesn't work out, I want them to be able to recoup their losses and sell that dog as a pet to somebody else. But it's in the contract too, that like we have to agree. I get first right of refusal, and then I have to agree where they go. But even like my pet home contracts, I think this is the biggest marker between ethical breeding and backyard breeders is that people are like, oh, shelters. And I get that. My dogs will never be in a shelter. Yeah. No dog I breed, because in my contract, it states that I have to receive the dog back within 10 days if they change their mind. And in some super small situations, I would allow them to rehome a dog for someone else that like with their mother or something like that, if I had already vetted that person too. But I've had 2 dogs returned to me ever. All the rest of them are with their original owners. And the microchips that I use, they're allowed to be transferred to somebody else, but they're also still kept in my name as a backup. I had a lady last year who went on vacation and her dog got out, and the city of Plano called me and they were like, we have this dog, and I was able to get him back to his home. But my dogs will never, I will keep 100 dogs in my house if I have to. They don't go to a shelter.
Yeah, I saw your website, and you have the links to the OFAs on the dogs and also the embarks, which I really like that too, because I don't think I've ever seen that on a breeder's website. Yeah, like everybody says that they embark, but
yeah, and I saw your thing too about like embark, and I get it, like it's not a tell-all. And embark actually messes things up. Sometimes I have to go to another company, like Gensol or something, to run a single panel on something that I'm like, that doesn't really add up. But dachshunds, there are certain color combinations that cause health problems. So I want to be super upfront with my dogs, that with breeders and owners though, that like my dapple boy, I want you to know he's not double dapple, you know, and then, hey, I bred him to this girl who's also on there, and you can see that she's not dapple. So you're not going to get double dapple dogs. I also don't, AKC says that they shouldn't have 2 coat patterns. So like you shouldn't have a piebald dapple or a brindle dapple or whatever. So I just want to be super upfront with people. And there's also kind of a 50-50 on the PRA on dachshunds. Some breeders live or die by PRA testing, and some don't at all. And they think OFA is a better option. And so they're on there.
I ask you, what is PRA? Because I saw that. I don't know what that is.
It's a genetic disease that can cause eventually blindness in dachshunds. It's not very common. It's interesting because before the PRA test came out, there were not a ton of blind dachshunds, and we were unknowingly breeding PRA carriers together over and over and over again and never getting blind dachshunds. So, I mean, it is a problem, but just because you have a dog that has 2 copies of PRA does not mean they're going to be blind. Yeah, on the PRA too, one thing too about those tests is that they're not reliable. You can get a clear from Embark and then go and check Gensol, and Gensol will say you have a carrier. Or you'll have two parents that say that they're clear, and you test the puppies and one of them's a carrier. So to me, can't happen, obviously. You can't have two clears produce a carrier. So for me, I just don't think that it's a hill to die on. I think that if you have a phenomenal dog that is dripping and breed type, there's no reason to throw that dog out because they carry PRA. And again, I've never had a dachshund go blind. Actually, also never had a dachshund with IBDD, but it definitely happens. I've just been blessed and haven't ever had that happen. Part of the reason why I think that I've never seen IBDD is that I delay spay neuter my dogs.
That makes sense. How old?
So I prefer to. Obviously, if the dog that I've bred, it's going to be a little later because they're still being bred, but I prefer to. I'll tell people, because I know with girls, it's a little bit, people don't want to go through the heats and all that. And I'm like, listen, most of my dogs don't go into heat for the first time until about 1. So if you'll spay them at 18 months, you're only going to have 2 heats, and that's way better for them. I try to explain to people, if you castrate your 13-year-old son, he's never going to grow to the height and the strength and the maturity, emotionally even, that he should, as letting them go through all those years of testosterone. So when you spay and neuter at 6 months old, a dwarf breed, you're going to get issues with their strength and all of that.
Yep.
But also responsibly. If you're irresponsible, get them spayed and neutered.
Yeah. Like I agree with like all the rescue dogs and stuff like that getting done while they're at the shelter. But
we rescued a pit a few 5 years ago, and he came to us neutered, and he's always been fine and healthy. But also, people notoriously let dachshunds get overweight. Dogs should have a waist. I know they're cute, but give them my dachshunds love carrots and broccoli and blueberries, and freeze-dried food. I'm like, just give your dog freeze-dried beef liver, and they'll stay in size. People are crazy. I'm like, stop feeding your dog vegan strips and wonder why your dog is 5 pounds overweight.
For real. I noticed that all of your dogs have their OFA, patella, and cardiac, but not the eyes.
I haven't done it yet.
Okay.
It's harder to get eyes done just because you have to go to an ophthalmologist, and I work from home, and so it's just kind of crazy to get. And I can do it at dog shows, but the problem with dog shows is that I don't bring dogs I'm not showing to the dog show. So it's a little, and most of them are out of state, and so I just haven't done them yet, honestly. They will get done. I just need, and now that the new year's over and my drawn the litters are out of the way, I can make it a priority. But also, most of mine are young too. You know, they're like Harvey, my number 1 mini. He's only 18 months old.
I saw that you had commented on the last Doxie live about the creams, because she had said that she just doesn't prefer creams and stuff like that. So obviously you like creams.
I like the creams.
Yeah. So what do you think about that? Because I think that it is true that a lot of the backyard breeders are breeding creams and I
think that they're equally breeding dapples and chocolates and dilutes and everything else. I think that dachshunds are very badly backyard bred. Most people are not backyard breeding reds because they don't sell as well. But all dachshunds, I think, are backyard bred. And to the point I was trying to make is that I think it also maybe depend on your area. I actually know loosely Lauren. I've never met her in person, but we kind of were in the same circles. And actually, when she had that epilepsy issue, that's how I met her. I was like, girl, you better spill the tea so that we know who to not buy these dogs from.
Yeah.
Because it gets hidden too. Like I'm telling you, just because a breeder shows their dogs does not make them ethical. Just because they do OFAs doesn't make them ethical. So her area, I don't know if there's tons of creams over there, to be honest, but the Dachshund Club of America is like our national event in May. And this past year, the male that I used for Peaches that gave me the grand champion, he was the number 4 top producer. And the number 1 top producer was also a cream. So I think any dog can be backyard bred. I mean, any color combination can be backyard bred. Dachshunds are just, I think that they're one dog that people need to get behind ethical breeding, because I'm telling you, and like Lauren was saying too, like when you understand the structure of a dachshund and what they should look like and why, you understand that your double dapple dilute with 6-inch legs is not appropriate.
Mhm.
I mean, like they're bred to hunt badgers and dig and burrow. Like, so if you notice on those big, they have those really big, deep chests, and like their shoulder placement should be like a V, like this, like a 45-degree angle. Or I guess it's 90. Math evades me. It's for digging. It's so that they're, for the purpose of their breed, they're meant to look like that with, you know, short little legs, and the, you know, and she was talking about the keel, you know, and their ribbing on their breastbone, and their ribbing is to support their spine. And people who don't understand that stuff are breeding for color, and they're getting tiny rat heads, and they're getting pink eyes around the outsides, and dogs end up blind, and tons of IBDD issues. And so I don't think it really matters what color necessarily people are wanting. I mean, I can produce a lot of different colors with the dogs that I have. There's some combinations I don't venture into because they're not breed correct.
Which ones?
Well, and some of it is like judges have preferences, you'll find sometimes too. So like some people have a hard time winning with dapple creams because the cream hides the dappling, so you can't tell they're dapple, but they can have blue eyes. So a judge is going to see that dog and go, they don't have the correct eyes. They're supposed to have dark eyes. And so I've had friends that couldn't win with cream dapples because judges are like, that's not correct. Red dapple, same thing. They sometimes have blue eyes, and you should be testing anyways, but also you can't tell physically that they're dapple. So some idiot could get it and, you know, breed it and have double dapples because they don't have a clue what's going on.
Right.
There's all different kinds of preferences, but I try to personally stick to the AKC, the standards for the colors. And I mean, there's some things that are just personal preference too, but like I don't breed chocolates and creams together because you can get chocolate based creams and then they have pink eyes, like around the outsides of their eyes, it's pink and they look sick to me.
Yeah.
And it's not technically correct because AKC says they should have dark.
So dapple is basically the same thing as merle, isn't it?
Yes. Every breed just kind of calls it something different. And
Right.
it's merle on the embark and stuff. It's M's.